I've already broken down the West region and the East region. Now, it's time to break down the South region. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I do videos every single day. Right now, we're in the middle of March Madness. I'm going through my bracket, breaking it down. I've already done the East and the West. Now it's time to do the South. First up, the 1 seed Baylor against the 16 seed Hartford. Not even going to break this down. Baylor advances. Next up, the 8-9 matchup. We have the 8 seed North Carolina against the 9 seed Wisconsin. North Carolina finished the season 18-10, 5th in the ACC. Their BPI is 25. They scored 75.7 points per game and allowed 69.4 points per game. They won 4 out of their last 6 games and lost to Florida State in the ACC semifinal. Now for Wisconsin, they finished 6th in the Big Ten with an overall record of 17-12. 3-9 versus the top 25. For North Carolina, they were 2-4 against the top 25. Wisconsin's BPI is 19. They average 69.6 points per game. That's not good. And allow 64.3 points per game. And they've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, including losing to Iowa in the Big Ten quarterfinal. I'm taking the Tar Heels. Next up, that tricky 5-12 matchup. The 5 seed Villanova against the 12 seed Winthrop. Villanova finished first in the Big East, 16-6. They're 3-1 against the top 25. Very good BPI of 7. They average 75.5 points per game, but allowed 67.1 points per game. They've lost 3 out of their last 4, including losing to Georgetown in the Big East quarterfinal. For Winthrop, they finished first in the Summit in the regular season, and they won the Summit League tournament. They finished the season 23-1. They haven't played any top 25 teams. They average 79.5 points per game. That's a good offense, and allows 66.8 points per game. Winthrop is on a 7-game winning streak. Make it 8. I'm taking the 12 seed Winthrop over Villanova. Next up, the 4-12 matchup. The 4 seed Purdue against the 12 seed North Texas. Purdue finished the season 4th in the Big Ten. They got hot towards the end of the season. I actually was talking about Purdue 2 months ago when I saw this coming. They finished the season 18-9, 5-5 against the top 25. That's respectable. They average 72.1 points per game. That's kind of low. And allows 66.3 points per game. Their BPI is 26. They've won 6 out of their last 7 games. And their only loss was to Ohio State in the Big Ten quarterfinal. Now, for North Texas, they finished the season 3rd in Conference USA West Division, 17-9 overall, 0-1 against top 25. That was against West Virginia, so that's a good win for West Virginia. They average just 69.8 points per game. That's not good, but a good defense. They only allow 61.2 points per game. Their BPI is 68. That's not great. 4 straight wins, and of course, they won the Conference USA tournament. Now, my live video, I picked North Texas. I've changed my mind. Purdue is hot. They just have a better offense than North Texas. Give me the Boilermakers. Next up, the 6 seed Texas Tech against the 11 seed Utah State. Texas Tech finished 6th in the Big 12. Overall record of 17-10. They score 73 points per game. Not a great offense, but only allows 63.4 points per game. They're 3-8 against the top 25. That is not good at all. But their BPI is 8. They've lost 5 out of their last 8 games, including a 2-game losing streak currently, and they lost to Texas in the Big 12 quarterfinal. Now for Utah State, they finished the season first in the Mountain West, and they lost to San Diego State in the Mountain West championship game. They finished the season 20-8. They score 73.3 points per game and only allow 62.3 points per game. They're 0-1 against the top 25. BPI of 49. That's not bad. And they've won 6 out of their last 7. So I'm taking the hot team here. I'm taking Utah State. And I think that's different from my live show pick as well. But after I looked at it, I'm taking the hot team. I'm going to take Utah State over Texas Tech. Next up, the 3 seed Arkansas against the 14 seed Colgate. Arkansas finished 2nd in the SEC. Overall, 22-6. They average 82.4 points per game. That's a really good offense and allows 70.7 points per game. Their BPI is 14. They've won 9 out of the last 10, and their only loss was to LSU in the SEC semifinal. Now for Colgate, they finished 1st in the Patriot League North Division. It has 3 divisions. They finished the season 14-1. They average 86.3 points per game. That's tops in the nation. and allows 68.6 points per game. Their BPI is 44, that's not bad, and they did win the Patriot League tournament. This was actually tougher than what I realized. I would not be surprised if Colgate won this game, but I'm going to take Arkansas. I'm taking the Razorbacks. But watch out for Colgate. This could be a bracket buster team. Next up, the 7th seed Florida against the 10 seed Virginia Tech. Florida finished 5th in the SEC with a record of 14-9 overall. They average 74 points per game and allow 69.8 points per game. They're 2-2 against the top 25, and their BPI is 32. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. They're struggling right now, and they lost to Tennessee in the SEC quarterfinal. I know Tennessee is a 5 seed as well, but they're not any good. Virginia Tech finished 3rd in the ACC with a record of 15-6 overall, averaged 72.1 points per game, and allowed 65.5 points per game. They are 4-0 against the top 25. BPI of 39, 4-2 in the last 6 games, and they lost to North Carolina in the ACC quarterfinal. I think Virginia Tech has enough to get it done, and I think their seeding is way off. I think Virginia Tech is definitely higher than a 10 seed, so I guess I'm taking the upset, even though I think Virginia Tech should be a higher seed than Florida. Give me the Hokies. Then we have the 2 seed Ohio State against the 15 seed Oral Roberts. I guess I'll break this down. Ohio State finished 5th in the Big Ten, 21-8 overall, 7-4 against the top 25, averaged 77 points per game, and allows 70.3 points per game. BPI 10. They've won 3 out of the last 4 games. Their only loss was to Illinois in the Big Ten title game. For Oral Roberts, they finished 4th in the Summit League in the regular season, but of course won the Summit League tournament. They're 16-10. They haven't played the top 25. They average 81.8 points per game. That's a good offense, but allows 75.8 points per game. That's a bad defense. They are on a 5-game winning streak, but their BPI is 155. I think Ohio State blows Oral Roberts out of the water. I'll take the Buckeyes in this game. Now we're in the second round. We got the 1 seed Baylor against the 8 seed North Carolina. Baylor finished 1st in the Big 12 with a record of 22-2. They average 84.4 points per game and allow 66.4 points per game. They're 7-2 against the top 25, PI of 2. Won 4 out of their last 5 games, and they lost to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 semifinals. So I should pick Baylor, no problem. Let's move on. Not so fast. I'm actually taking the Tar Heels. Baylor hasn't looked quite right ever since they came back from COVID. Yes, they've had a decent record since coming back, but something is off. I think North Carolina is clicking on all cylinders right now, and they have enough to get the upset here against Baylor. I think North Carolina is actually underseeded. I think North Carolina is more like a 5 or 6 seed. So this isn't as big of an upset as you would think. I'm taking the Tar Heels to get to the Sweet 16. Next up is the 4 seed Purdue against the 12 seed Winthrop. I think this game will be a better game than people realize. Winthrop is a good team, and they could bust some people's brackets, but I think Purdue has been tested more. Purdue has gotten hot towards the end of the season. They're hot at the right time, and I think they are just going to overmatch Winthrop. I'm taking the Boilermakers to get to the Sweet 16, but in a good game against Winthrop. Next up is the 11 seed Utah State against the 3 seed Arkansas. This also should be a great game. I just think Arkansas's offense is one of the best in the nation. Utah State is a good team, and they did well in the Mountain West. But Arkansas is a completely different animal. If the Aggies can't figure out a way to stop that offense, they're going to lose big. But I don't think they lose big. I think it's a good game, a close game, but Arkansas still the better team. Razorbacks get to the Sweet 16. Next up, the 10 seed Virginia Tech against the 2 seed Ohio State. I went back and forth a lot on this. I think Virginia Tech is a better team than people realize, but Ohio State is just really, really hot right now. Even in that loss against Illinois, a number 1 seed, they looked really, really good and earned their way back into a 2 seed. I think the momentum keeps going, and they beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech puts up a good fight, but Ohio State is destined to get to the Sweet 16. Next up, the 8-4 matchup, North Carolina against Purdue to get to the Elite 8. I think this game actually comes down to coaching. I think Roy Williams will have the answer for Purdue. Purdue's going to be a tough team. Don't get me wrong. They have a really good offense. But I think North Carolina is balanced just a little bit better than Purdue, and they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves after they just beat Baylor. So I'm going to take North Carolina to keep the momentum going and get to the Elite 8. In the other Sweet 16 matchup, 3-seed Arkansas against the 2-seed Ohio State. This could really be a coin flip. This could be one of the best games of the entire tournament. But after looking it over, Arkansas averages 82.4 points per game. Ohio State averages 77 points per game. Arkansas allows 70.7 points per game, but Ohio State allows 70.3 points per game. So only a little bit difference of a defense, but a bigger gap in the offense. So I do think Arkansas will out-offense Ohio State. This is going to be fireworks. This is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Arkansas has the edge and the shooting capabilities to beat Ohio State. I have Arkansas getting to the Elite Eight. Then the Elite Eight battle to get into the Final Four. The 8-seed North Carolina against the 3-seed Arkansas. I think up to this point, matchups have actually favored North Carolina and has gotten them to this point. I think this is where it ends though. Yes, this is different from what I said on my live show. I was shooting from the hip then. No research, just off the top of my head. Well, I've went back, I've researched. I still like North Carolina getting to the Elite Eight, but Arkansas, they are very, very balanced. More balanced than I realized. An amazing offense and a pretty good defense. Could be better, but pretty good. So I think they're balanced enough and they shoot the lights out. And I think they shoot their way into the Final Four. Give me the Razorbacks into the Final Four. There you go, my South region. Now all I have left is the Midwest region. I will have that out later today. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.